Alright, how do YouTube? So this is a thing we'll do on Thursdays called Tea Thursdays. So in this little coffee tin we have little basically topics to talk about, and what we'll do is we'll pick one and then we'll talk about it. If we don't have anything else to talk about, we'll pick another one and we'll just rotate around. So I'll let you go first.
I'm going first.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just like read the topic and then make it as eventful or as broad or specific as you want.
How big do you see subtle clothing collection getting? Okay, so do you want to talk about it or?
Alright.
I don't know if your channel knows about it.
Yeah, they don't. So some backstory, kind of all three of us are taking part in this like clothing kind of basic product that we're trying to start up. It's called Subtle Clothing Collection. It features these kind of trendy, kind of topic-based clothing items. So right now we currently have these subtle Asian dads where they like take photos, drink tea, eat ramen, and like this is the theme of the shirt. So we'll have different types of themes and we create these shirts and basically model them, take photos and try to basically market them. And then how big do you see Subtle Clothing Collection getting?
So I guess like that's directed towards me. So basically, to elaborate on sort of the question here and on the background of the company,
Yeah.
I think right now, like because we're a startup company, we're sort of having to see like what exactly we are as a company. I think that's sort of with any sort of startup there.
Yeah.
We right now are like focusing on like Asian memes. So think of like things that people grow up. I don't know if like any of you guys have seen or heard of Subtle Asian Traits, but basically it's a Facebook page where it's essentially like posts about all of these Asian memes of like things we've grown up as Asians, things like boba, eating noodles or something like that, or like putting sriracha, like the whole debate of whether you should put sriracha and hoisin sauce in your bowl of pho. Just things like that, as well as you should probably. Okay. Anyway, so basically we have one concept where we're making designs based off of Asian memes, and then the second concept would be going into sort of the car scene route, where currently wearing a prototype right now, Subtle Clothing Collection, and then basically the cars we have would be on the back. Not sure how.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
It is, but the car thing is essentially where we go country by country and make a design for cars that are unique to those countries. And essentially, like the words that were on the back of the shirts, they're supposed to translate into English, saying like some notice, some know this. And basically, we're trying to translate that to each like country's language, and that's sort of like the other concept we have for the company. Right now, we are working on this new design. We just got the prototype in this week, and we're having to make a few adjustments there before we do like an official release for the second design. But enough of that. I think like probably going forward, I think depending on how much work we put in, this could go pretty far. I don't know. I don't think that I would want to work on something that I don't think or don't believe would have a future. But I think this is just sort of the struggles of like a startup that anyone has. It's taking a lot of money out of our wallets,
Yeah.
a lot of time, but I think it's also fun too, It's sort of like a hobby. I think I'd compare it to like if someone were to work on a car, like someone who likes working on cars. I think like for me, I like working on like businesses or just business ideas. So I think this is fun, but definitely we're trying to take this up a notch here and try and make some money.
So, yeah, because like right now we're at a decent loss, like
Yeah.
getting everything set up. Oh, so yeah, pretty good. All right, Brent, you can go next.
This is another one of mine.
I can read it to you if you want. Yeah.
Circumcision or not?
Oh my gosh. Wait, what do you mean? Like, do you believe in it or not? Or
No,
like,
like people with circumcision versus not.
this is. You wanna?
Yeah, I'll just explain this
Yeah,
one. So basically it was a topic of discussion the other day where, I don't know, you guys like brought up whether
Brian, tell the backstory.
Yeah, so I guess I'll talk about this also. So basically, our other roommate who isn't here right now, we were basically talking somehow about like penises in our conversation.
Yes.
I don't know how we were talking about it, but typical dude talk, you know. And eventually, we got into the topic of like, oh, you could have this one sort of condition where if you're not circumcised and you try and like but like pull back your foreskin. Okay. Pull back your foreskin from like the tip of your penis. It could not like there's a condition where you don't pull it back completely through. So because if you're not able to pull back the foreskin, the blood won't be able to flow into, I guess, the tip of your penis, the tip of your dick, and that causes like loss of circulation to your penis, and at that point you'd have to be rushed to the ER to like get
So this next one is a pretty broad topic. It's about exercising. So I guess what is, I can make it more generic, like what is like some advice you guys have for kind of like doing your school and like balancing your life with trying to keep like a fit exercise plan?
Do you want to go first? Or?
Yeah, I'll go first on that one. Let's see, I wish I could, maybe I can send you a photo later, but back in 2017 I was so skinny, like it was just very, very scrawny. It was bad. Anyway, then I just started like really just following a plan. I started with the Baywatch.
Oh my god.
What's it called? What's his name? Zac
Efron. I was like, yeah.
Wait,
I
did I like show you that one?
No, you didn't show me that one.
Okay.
I just
because I did that like 2 years ago also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I started doing that and just exponentially went up in weight, and now it's kind of hard to even gain 5 pounds. But
Okay.
yeah, that's my story on that.
Yeah. I don't know, I guess for me, like I've always been on and off with working out since like I moved to Texas probably about a decade ago. Fitness has been like pretty much like at some part involved in my life. I like moved here for my first year and I did boxing. After that I just did some body workouts, so like maybe some calisthenics. And then for like the first 2 years of high school I was in marching band, so I guess you could count that as like cardio. And then junior year I went back to doing calisthenic workouts. Senior year, that's when I like started bodybuilding. I weighed like 149 pounds. And then I was tired of being scrawny. So then I decided to go on like this whole journey of eating and drinking like 2 serving sizes of mass gainers every day, to the point where I think in like 3 months I put on about 25 pounds. So whatever brought me to 176 pounds by the end of the 3 months. And it was an all muscle, but definitely gained some strength there.
Yeah.
But in terms of balance, I guess now it's just being organized. Being organized and just sticking to it. Like I've had like 5 hours of sleep. I mean, this is just also by choice. Like I could have definitely had like an extra 2 hours.
Yeah, you're watching anime.
Yeah. Anyway, so since like the school year started, I've just been trying to like keep track of and being responsible of working out, even though like there are things going on throughout the days for like schoolwork and stuff outside of school. But yeah.
Kevin, your transformation was pretty intense over the summer.
So like I had one goal like during summer was like, because last summer, like the summer of 2018, I was like, I'll like give working out a shot because like weight training a shot, and then I tried it and I was like, yeah, no. And then this summer I was like, wait, let me like actually give it a shot where like I forced myself to go. So I went with my friend who like showed me like the basics, like deadlift form, like squatting, like what to worry about, what to like actually do. And I followed this like NSUNS program, which is basically you do 9 sets of something. It's like extremely hard, but like it's extremely tiring as well. And then in order to avoid like huge crowds at the gym, I would go at like 6 a.m. and then go to work at like 9 after. And basically it was you like do benches, you do squats, you do like deadlifts, you can basically do these like iterations, and you slowly try to break goals. So the first half of the week is you build muscle, and then the second half is like you try to break these goals. And then yeah, so I just did that like every day. I did basically for 13-14 weeks. I followed like this NSUNS program every day at like 6 a.m. 5 days a week. Like there was no days where I skipped. Even if I was drunk, hungover, like I still like tried my best to go. If I couldn't complete the sets, I would just mark it. But like as long as I still went. But basically like I went from like so like in the beginning, like my like early benches were like 135, which is like pretty standard. And then like now like I can bench like 210, 220. Like so like squats, I can now squat like 220. So like the gains like for just being consistent. But that was just during summer. And then like during the school year, I find it also very hard because you have other obligations, other things to do. So it's like kind of just trying to fit your like plan in, or like do some form of like exercise. It doesn't need to be extremely consistent, but like just try your best to get it in.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I think it's you. I did exercising. Yeah, it's you.
iPhone 11, cool or trash? I mean, I haven't seen the release video, so I can't really say anything. So I'll let you guys talk about it first.
Yeah, I thought it was. I mean, well, there's not a whole lot different, right? It's just the cameras. Basically, they added that additional camera, and now people are making like mitosis memes. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was just like a thing on the
No,
that's
that's
everyone is doing
Brian,
it.
like,
Oh, shit.
that's what it is.
Whoa, wait,
Yeah, it's a bunch of like mitosis memes. But yeah, like, so like the whole product lineup is like, they like realized they messed up with their product naming schemes and stuff like that with like the iPhone 10, the iPhone 8, and the iPhone 10R. So like, let's just call everything 11 and then base it off of that. So 11 becomes the XR, the 10R replacement. 11 Pro replaces the 10S, and then the whatever Max, whatever they call it, replaces the Plus. So the major differences are like people just see the camera, but there are like some subtle differences that people actually don't care about, but like are actually pretty cool. Like the A13 chip is pretty lit, and then the new screen is also pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, people just care about the mitosis thing. So there's all these memes about like, or like these like people just saying like, oh, we're gonna add a camera and we're gonna sell you the same exact product, and yeah, people will still buy it. That's the thing. Like when you turn these mitosis memes, it just boosts Apple's like popularity up, and then tomorrow when you can pre-order, it's gonna flood.
Yeah.
So people will still spend their $800, $1,000. I might spend my $1,000, but we'll see.
I'm gonna hold on to my XS for a little bit.
Yeah, you just got it though. That's
Yeah.
the thing. It's like less than a year old. I might get this because like I'm not like super satisfied with this anymore. But I was also like, oh, maybe I'll get like a OnePlus or like some Galaxy.
Yeah, you really gonna do that?
I don't know. Yeah, the Apple ecosystem is pretty hard to leave because I
Yeah.
have the Mac Mini, the iPad, like all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Did you know about like the whole like Foxconn like ordeal? You know how like Foxconn supplies like the chips for Apple,
Yeah,
and basically we were just like talking about this in like our management class, but
yeah.
like the company Foxconn, it's like a Taiwanese based company,
Yeah.
and they hire like high school graduates from like the outskirts of Taiwan, so like
Yeah.
from the villages, and then they have them sign like 3 to 5 year contracts
Yep.
to work in the factories, and then during like that like contract period, they just work like their workers to like death, literally. Like they don't get any break, like rarely any breaks, no vacations, and they're just so miserable, and they're like are always like sleep deprived too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Well, it's basically like it's already been like established for like the last like 5 years. Like Foxconn
shit.
is like pretty questionable about their like labor laws, but even then they're in a different country. The labor laws are different.
Yeah.
And basically, it was to the point where like these manufacturing buildings, they would install suicide nets around the building to prevent like these employees from like killing themselves at work.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty interesting, but also pretty sad.
Yeah.
The other thing was like Trump tried to sign an agreement with like Foxconn to set up manufacturing in the States where they would like build like LCD panels and stuff. But like that's like been on and off because of the whole trade war kind of thing. But Foxconn would be like the way to, if they could have distributions in the States, distributions in North America, like South, whatever. Like if they could have it everywhere, then they would be able to avoid the tariffs.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, basically it's cool to some people, trash to some people. The same as last year's phone for a lot of people with mitosis involved. So it's basically iPhone 11.
Life after signing full time.
That's you, Brian.
That's
you, Brian.
That's a thick question right there.
Yeah. So I guess the thing basically says life after signing full time, but it's more like how do you feel after you've like signed this full time job? You've like studied at like Texas A&M for like the last 4 years. Like you've gotten to the point where everyone dreams of to like after college you have a job, it pays well. Like how do you feel and like what are your thoughts?
You want to go first on that one?
Yeah, sure. So
You're the only one who signed full time. I haven't. I might soon, but like.
Well, it's still kind of. We can all kind of.
Yeah, we can all comment on it. Yeah, but like this is like more directed like specifically to you, Brian.
it's definitely a lot stressful now. Like you don't.
A lot less stressful.
Yeah, it's a lot less stressful. I think throughout college, you're always just trying to like find what you're trying to do, and I think for me, for like. Especially I think the first 2 years, it was very stressful for me just because I think like being an Asian like child, you're typically told what to do by your parents. Like they're always like,
be doctor.
From like elementary. Yeah, be doctor.
Doctor, engineer, some form of scientist, like those are your like engineer, doctor, engineer. Yep.
It's like your doctor, be some sort of engineer or like work for like some Fortune 500 company or whatever. So basically, I think for me, like literally school was probably really easy for me. Like I didn't have to worry about too much as long as I just got A's and I like wouldn't be disowned. So as long as I got A's, I could just play my video games, not really care much about like what was going on. So obviously when it came down to like choosing a college and then actually choosing like like what I wanted to major in and essentially like what I wanted to do in life, it was just hard because like there's so many possibilities out there when you're in college and you're getting exposed to all these different things. So that was very stressful, and then finally knowing like what you want to do, or at least for like what I wanted to do, I didn't really know until like 2 years ago. When like I met like a buddy of ours, and it just happened to be that like the thing that I wanted was very competitive, like stupidly competitive, and it's not even that like the interviews are things that you would see in like comp sci. It's a lot more of like even just getting the interview. Like the process of even just getting the interview is one of the most difficult parts. So basically what I wanted to do was investment banking, and if you don't know, like investment banking is very competitive in the finance industry, and if you want to even get an interview, there's like a lot of steps behind that just to even get the interview. So that's from like cold emailing a bunch of different people at like all the banks you could think of. Just asking them to get on the phone, if they even respond to your email, and then seeing if they could go grab coffee with you if they like talking to you on the phone. And then from there, they'll like see if you could visit the office to see if the rest of the team likes you. And that's not even the interview part yet. Like that's just seeing if anyone wants to give you like an official interview. So then that part, hopefully you've done all those steps right, and then you get the interview. And then when you're interviewing, because you're interviewing at all these like top banks, and because you're interviewing at like a very competitive field, it's common to compete against other highly competitive people who are very high achieving. And then that also, because you're in that sort of level there, you're also competing with like Ivy League students, which makes it a lot more difficult too. But yeah, I mean, the whole process. Is that me? Corona, California. Anyway, yeah, it was a lot. It was very stressful. I think I was stressed for at least a good year and a half. Did my internship. Everyone liked me in the office, gave me my full-time offer. Ended up signing 2 Fridays ago, 3 Fridays ago.
Two Fridays ago, I think.
Yeah, and
For Houston, right?
yeah, for Houston. So I'll be doing oil and gas investment banking. Anyway,
Downtown Houston.
downtown Houston. Yeet how.
Knee howdy.
Need howdy.
At least you can go hang out with Amanda and
Yeah.
some people who are still local.
Yeah.
I'll be here, so you can come visit us.
Yeah, that is true. But yeah, so I guess to really answer the question here, it's a lot less stressful because now you know that you have a job, and I think for me, I'm lucky enough to know that I'll be at a job that I've wanted for a very long time. And yeah, I think I'm like approaching classes in a different way. Like you're not stressed when trying to study. You're actually trying to sort of learn the material depending on the class. Anyway, so, but yeah, it also allows me to focus more on other things that I've wanted to do, like getting back into shape, getting better at tennis, hanging out with like friends, catching up with people, start a clothing collection, and yeah, it's a different stress. Like now you're stressing about different things, but it's not, it's not sort of, what is it called? It's not eustress, it's like distress. You know what I'm talking about? Like there are 2 different types of stresses. Eustress.
Distress means you're like in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, distress is like they're both right, they're both stress. You're stressed no matter what in both situations, but eustress is almost like a chronic stress. Like that's actually bad for your health. Whereas like distress is something that you'll experience when you stress out about like an assignment or something like that, but that will go away.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Kevin, what about you? Your timeline's kind of coming to a
Yeah, so I
make a
have
decision.
Yeah, so I have until like October 15th to like decide. Basically, I have like 2 like startup kind of offers. I have 2 like large company offers, and I don't know. It's like kind of iffy, right? So like regardless of like which company I pick, which like journey I take, it's like there'll be it'll always be a W or dub. Like there's no like L there, but it's like what happens after, like what do I learn, like stuff like that. So like the big decisions are like, oh, will I get mentorship? Will the product I've been working on like actually like help people or like make money? Will the company actually survive? Do I get stock, equity, like future down the line kind of things? Where is it? Like, will I have friends there? Will it be in a nice place, like an enjoyable area? Will the rent be $3,800 for a 500 square foot apartment? Yeah, stuff like that. But I don't know, like it's like kind of stressful because like every year, unlike Brian's like situations, like every year for like computer science students, once you start through the door, like freshman year, you take your CS class and then you apply for freshman internships like Microsoft, Twitter, like Google. Like the goal is like to grab one of those big companies like very early on. Then you can get software engineering your sophomore year, and then like you already have these big companies on your name, like on your resume. You can move forward with that. But like, yeah, you have basically like the computer science student has to intern like every single summer. You spend every single like day like when you're not interning, you're studying like leak code or like practice interview questions, and then these interviews themselves are like super hard or super like like gotcha kind of interviews. So it's like if you can't solve this like one computer science problem or this one like practical coding problem, then you don't get the job.
Yeah.
And like now it's like Brian's situation was like, oh, you have to like network, cold interview and stuff like that. But now the system's even harder, where it's like you apply, they'll consider you by sending you these like coding interview questions, and they're like not hard, they're like pretty like trivial, like medium-ish kind of questions. But it's like these questions take like 2 hours each like to do like practically, and like after you do like 5 or 10 of them, you're like, I give up, like this shit's tiring. So then you have to do those just to be considered for an interview. And then once you get an interview, you have to do a behavioral one, usually 2 technicals. And then after that for full time, then they'll fly you out. So like after that, it's still like 5 hours of interviews, or 4 or 5, basically like 3 coding interviews, 1 like behavioral one. And even then they could still not offer you the job. And it's like, you do all of that and it's like, yeah. So it's like really hard for people like who just want to like join like CS for like the easy money. Like they see 6 figures and they're like, oh yeah, let's do it. But it's like a lot to like actually do, and if it's not what you're interested in, like you'll easily be like weeded out or like kicked out or like discouraged. But like once you do get the job, it's like pretty rewarding after. And then yeah, it's like just the decision now is like it's different than like trying to get it. Now that like I have like a good like standing, good position, like good companies, it's like, oh, like which one's right for me is like the thought now. So like it's a flip now. Like I always had to like struggle to get it, but now like it's the reverse. I can now decide which one's best for me. But.
Yesterday, we were only kids, could never fade away, running through the